Hi everyone. I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about this past weekend for me and my girls and me as a mom. Um, I don't know how many of you know, but I've struggled with a lot of anxiety surrounding my kids and their health since losing my first child, and then having Lydia so early and that being such a crazy time. So this past Friday night, Evie had been sick with what we thought was an ear infection, and about midnight that night, Stephen woke me up and showed me the top of her head, and her soft spot was bulging up significantly, and I have enough knowledge to know that that was pretty much an emergency, and so we took off, headed for the hospital. And so what typically would have happened in the past is I would have been kind of freaking out and thinking the worst, and I mean, I still would have gotten through it and everything, but it just would have been like torture in my mind of, thinking the worst. And so I kind of was reminded of a friend I have who has been going through a lot of medical stuff in their family recently, and how she had mentioned just not having time to waste on anxiety, that waiting for answers, because that's what we did a lot of this weekend, and that waiting for answers can actually be a time of blessing and rest. And so that's kind of the mindset I had in my mind this weekend as we went through, going through all the different answers and all the different scary facts with Evie, as we waited for cultures to grow and results of spinal taps and things like that to come back. I could have been sitting there like freaking out the whole time, but I really chose to embrace the concept of rest, and then when I needed to act, I would have the energy to do that. And so I just kept kind of praying, and I kept thinking about in the Bible, Romans 8:28, where it says all things work together for the good of those who love him. And when it says all things, it truly means all things. And so I kind of in my mind had this idea that even if, we were looking at the worst case scenario, was we were looking at bacterial meningitis and 14-day course of IV antibiotics, potentially staying in the hospital that long. And so even at that, I started to kind of freak out about my job. I'm relatively new in my position. I'm still technically in a probationary period, although I've been with the company for so many years. And then I'm new in the position I am in. I'm trying to build a caseload and all that kind of stuff, and then finances and all of that. And I could have just let my brain spiral out of that. And I simply just grabbed onto that concept of all things. And that meant my finances, that meant time in the hospital, that meant my mental health, that meant my daughter's physical health. All of that was included in that. And, I can't say it was easy getting through it, but I think Sunday night, Evie kind of started to turn this corner, and there was this clear indication that, whatever it was, she was definitely getting better. We still hadn't gotten all the answers at that point, but we could tell that she was getting better. She was starting to eat. She was starting to smile again. The soft spot on her head was starting to go down at times. And so we could tell that things definitely were getting better. And so we got to sleep that night. And I think it was about 4 a.m. Sunday into Monday. Evie finally relaxed, slept. The hospital room was quiet, and I woke up from a dead sleep, and there was this moment of I could just hear Evie snoring, and I could hear the IV that she had, and I could hear my husband snoring in the recliner across the room. And I just had this moment of just total peace, like just peace in that moment. And it was this total gratefulness to be hearing both of them snoring, breathing, to be hearing the IV that says that, you know, my daughter is getting these antibiotics that she needs. And I think for the first time in a hospital room that was the most peace I've had. We've been through quite a bit of medical stuff in the last 4 or 5 years, and I've spent more time in the hospital than I'd like to admit, and so to have that moment was just amazing. So I guess I say that to say that just because you're anxious about something doesn't mean that God isn't there, and it doesn't mean that He's not gonna take care of it all. Sometimes it helps us to just commit to that decision of it's all gonna be okay. So hopefully that helps somebody. I'd be more than happy to talk to anybody personally if you want, but I just hope that story helps. Thanks. Bye.